Welcome to Face to Face. I'm your host, Genevieve Lefebvre. Face to Face is a bilingual series of videos recorded here at the Société francophone de Maillardville. We acknowledge La Société francophone de Maillardville operates on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Coquitlam. We thank the Coquitlam who continue to live on these lands and care for them along with the waters and all that is above and below. Today, I'm lucky to have with me Vanessa Wideski. Vanessa is the co-executive director at Low Entropy, and she's also an author. Welcome, Vanessa.
Thank you.
I'm really happy to have you with us today because you have a fantastic story to tell us, and that demonstrates a lot of resilience. And I think resilience is a big word right now, and there's a lot of it's difficult out there right now these days. So I'm inviting you to please share your story with us.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to be here.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm grateful for the opportunity to share a little bit about my story. 20 years ago, I was homeless and I was struggling with a crystal meth addiction. And the thing that really helped me was all the people who crossed my path. So I eventually did come across, the support of the community in the form of food from the food bank. Somebody gave me a tent, and that helped me by giving me temporary relief from food. I also got temporary shelter from my tent, but what gave me permanent lasting change was the kindness of strangers, the kindness and the compassion of the people who crossed my path. And they ultimately helped me by random acts of kindness. And so eventually I got off the streets, off crystal meth, and back into society as a contributing citizen. And that's a little bit about my story.
Yeah. How long were you living in the street or considered being homeless?
Yeah, so sleeping rough, as they say. It was only about 6 to 8 months. I guess sleeping rough is technically if you don't have an address. So the entire time was 2 years, but for the majority of that time, I was sleeping on couches and, sleeping at different friends that I would meet. But for 6 months, I was living out of my tent. And for 2 months, I was sleeping on park benches and parking lots and bus stations.
Here in the Lower Mainland?
No, I actually had moved to the South Pacific. So I had met somebody who I thought was the love of my life. When I was 21, I was waitressing at a bar and he was my manager, and so I fell for him. And then we fled the country and we traveled to the South Pacific. We had a year open ticket to go to 6 different countries, and the first country was Samoa, and we loved Samoa, so we ended up ditching the rest of our ticket and staying in Samoa and trying to find our way there. But then it turned abusive, the relationship, and once it turned abusive, I reached out to drugs and alcohol to try to numb the pain and the trauma that I was putting myself through, and that's when my crystal meth addiction started. And so it wasn't here, it was in the South Pacific. So if you're going to be homeless, do it in the South Pacific.
It's a little bit easier.
It is.
Than the cold temperature we have here, specifically in the Tri-Cities.
Mm-hmm.
Is that experience inspired you to with Low Entropy, the start of it?
I would say so. I didn't when I was going through that, I never imagined what my future would hold. I didn't really think about the future at all when I was living in that type of situation. But I know now, when I look back in retrospect and I reflect on my past, I realize that I went through that I know it sounds cliche, but I really did go through that for a reason. I feel like it gave me the empathy and the compassion that I now have to serve others and to really help others. I've cultivated this huge passion to help people, and I owe it to that past that I had.
Yeah. Of course. Can you tell us about Low Entropy? Like what you guys do? And I have visited your website a little bit. There's many course or formations, and you guys are offering different things. So what is Low Entropy and what do you guys do?
Sure, yeah. So entropy is the measurement of chaos and disorder. And we are trying to reduce the chaos in our humanity, in our social system. And that looks like creating a world where we cooperate, we care about each other, we take care of one another, and we come from a place of acceptance and compassion, because that builds very harmonious humanity. And so we're trying to reduce the entropy throughout humanity, throughout our world. And the way we do that is by starting with ourselves on an individual level, right? So when I reduce my own internal chaos and I come from a place of love and compassion, that's what I have to share with the world. So if each person takes responsibility to reduce their own internal chaos, then what's left is love that they can share. So what we do is we provide spaces for people to come and work on themselves through personal development. We have coaching, we have sharing circles, youth programs, senior programs, and the seniors programs are more activities where they can have fun and step out of social isolation. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And because that's a big problem in this day and age with social anxiety and elderly population.
Yeah, exactly.
So they get to meet friends and to keep, but I guess, I don't know if you're going to agree with me, but I feel when you meet someone, you need to meet someone, more than one, to actually really connect with the person.
Yeah.
So being part of something, and you know you're going to keep meeting the person once or twice, there's more chance that you actually created a bond, attachment, you know, because we talk about children and attachment with their parents, but also attachment throughout our life with our friends and the people around us that are often actually living the same things as we are. So that's great, and you guys can offer this type of space for people to meet and create relationship like this. Because social isolation, I've been, it's something that really touches me, and I think it touches a lot of people. You don't have to be elderly to feel social, but it happens more and more when you're older.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So is it big? Do you see a lot? Is it very busy with the elderly population?
Yeah, it's busy with everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone needs help, right?
Yes.
So many people need help, just in different forms. So we're quite organic in that we listen to the needs of the community and we create programs to support folks based on what their needs are.
To go back a little bit, talking about homelessness, do you know a little bit what's happening here in the Tri-Cities?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is something that it's pulling at my heart, and so how it started actually was I went to I planned on going to the Pink concert. You know, Pink.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, like everybody.
Oh, everybody knows Pink.
So I really like her music, and my daughter, who's 11, her and I got tickets to go to see her concert. And we said, you know, let's make a weekend out of it. And so we booked a loft downtown in Gastown, and we were staying there for 2 nights. And the plan was to go stay downtown and then go to Pink and come back and like go shopping and have fun, girls trip. So we get to Gastown, and the first night is amazing. And as I'm laying in bed, I look up and the Pink concert, and it's canceled. So Pink was canceled, which means that we had to make our own fun. So I said, okay, well, you know, why don't we go shopping? And so we went. When we left our loft, if we turned right 1 block, we're on Water Street, right? And Water Street, Gastown, it's really expensive shops. You know, we went to the revolving restaurant. We were eating and like living, you know, a fancy lifestyle with so many other people.
Weekend,
for a weekend, spoiling ourselves. And when we go back to our loft, you know, and we change, and then we go out of our loft and we go left 1 block, and we're on East Hastings. And East Hastings, you can't even walk down the street without coming across dozens of people who are sleeping rough and living unhoused. And so it really hit me hard when we were there. This is about a month ago. Just seeing the inequality, right, of so many people who have so much and so many people who have so little. And the fact that we just walk by them. We've normalized just walking by people who are struggling to the point where they don't even have a roof over their head. They don't even have food that they can eat. You know, they're begging, they're asking, like, it broke my heart to see. Like, I remember when we left that weekend, I was just shaking my head and saying to my daughter, like, how did we get here? As a society, how did we get to a place where we don't even care. We just walk by like it doesn't matter. And I've done that my whole life too. You know, I pretty much grew up here, and just walked by people as well, because you become part of the culture, right, of the society. everybody's doing it, so you do it too. And so we've normalized that. We've normalized just walking by people who are struggling. And so ever since that happened, like a month ago, I've been on this crusade to create a paradigm shift within our community, and hopefully within the world it spreads. And that's what I'm going to dedicate my life to doing, so that we don't normalize just walking by people who are suffering. Instead, we normalize helping people, right? Where we can't just walk by somebody on the street without helping them. We're like, that's not normal. This person doesn't have a bed to sleep in. This person is starving. That's not friggin' normal. We have to help them. Where it becomes this, we have to help them. We have to do something. So that's my crusade. That's my mission. And it's interesting because I feel like Creator gives you these little gifts to tell you you're on the right path, because right around the same time, Low Entropy got a grant, $25,000, to do a homelessness feasibility research study here in the Tri-Cities.
Okay.
Right. So now we have some funding to actually learn and understand what's happening here in the Tri-Cities. And so in the Tri-Cities, the recent homelessness count that was done earlier this year is there's 160 people who are sleeping rough, that are unhoused, don't have an address. And we have one homeless shelter that has the capacity to host 75 people, but they're not using their full capacity. And I understand it's because one of their dorms, they used to cram like 12 people in there, but that was unsafe. So right now there's only 64 beds. So basically we have about 100 people who don't have beds in the Tri-Cities. And what we need to do is come up with a solution as to how we're going to help them.
Okay. So do we need more shelter? Like, what now we came with those numbers, and we have to do something about it.
Yeah, we have to do something about them. So here's the solution. Here's the solution that
I want the solution.
Yeah. Okay, I know, right? Because there's so much talk about the problems, but we need to find solutions, focus on solutions, try things out, innovative models. And if that doesn't work, okay, well, at least we tried that. Let's try something different.
Yes.
So what we want to try is creating a robust volunteer program. Okay, so how it would work, or how it's, we're rolling this out as of December 15th is when we launch it. So in about 3 weeks from now. So what we're doing is we're in the process right now of recruiting volunteers who are in the Tri-Cities, and even some folks from outside the Tri-Cities, really anybody that wants to help. So we bring them on board, they undergo a criminal record check, and then they go through the training. So we're developing the curriculum right now. So trauma-informed training, naloxone training. So pretty much a condensed version of the training that you need to become an outreach worker, a homelessness outreach support worker, which I used to be in Maple Ridge.
Yes.
And so the training in terms of having the hard skills, there's a little bit you need to know, and you need to know what the resources are, where the shelters are, and then naloxone, of course. But the soft skills is really where it comes in. The most important piece, I believe, that you need to have is compassion, like compassionate listening, just learning how to sit there and be with somebody and listen to them and offer friendship. Because so many of these people that are sleeping rough, they don't have anybody, right? They've been ostracized by their family. I was just talking to my friend who lives under the bridge in a tent with her boyfriend just a couple of days ago, and asking her how she got there, and that was her story. Well, my family wants something to do with me. They told me it's either me or my boyfriend, and I chose him, and so now they've turned their backs on me. So a lot of these neighbors that are unhoused, they have nobody to turn to, and they feel like nobody cares about them. So where the volunteers come in is we come in to just no judgment, because we don't know everything that they've been through, so we don't have that criticism or that bias. We're not carrying that with us. We come in with fresh eyes, with a fresh heart, to offer them that support and that kindness and that compassion that they need. So we put them through the training, and then starting as of December 15th, we go out and we connect with them. So every day, volunteers go out in the buddy system for 3 hours, and they help, and they talk to our unhoused friends. They get to know them. They build friendships. They build relationships consistently, right? So we're starting for 2 weeks, and then we'll take that back to the team. Okay, how did that go? What do we need to change? Do we need to add something new into the training, right? It's going to be tweaking along the way. But eventually it'll get to the point where we have a army of volunteers. So one of our superpowers in low entropy is volunteerism, is bringing together volunteers. And I think it's because our approach to volunteers is we're here to help them. So it's, how can we help you? Not what can we get from you. We're not trying to get time or anything out of them. We're trying to give them opportunities because people want to help. They just don't know how. So they come to us and we give them the opportunity how they can help because there's lots of people who need help, right? So they go through the training. They're offering support, but it's basically a lot of people walk by unhoused people because they don't know what to do, right? Like, well, what am I supposed to do? He's just going to ask me for money, and I don't want to give him money. He's going to go buy drugs with it, and then maybe he's going to OD, and then I'm going to contribute to that, right? And so it's the fear.
It's a conversation a lot of people have, and I have myself walked downtown. I'm French Canadian, as everybody knows, but I'm walking and I'm listening to someone talking behind me. And it's a guy telling his girlfriend in French, so nobody can probably doesn't think I'm speaking French, right? And saying, "Oh, we are going to get all this money today because you're so beautiful and because you're sitting next to me, and we're gonna get so high tonight." And I stop walking, and they walk kind of through me, on each side, and I'm like, "Huh," that the reason why. Then when you want to give, like you said, I don't want to contribute to this. What happened if they OD'd? There's a social responsibility that comes with that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something that needs to be changed around this. Mm-hmm. And I have less problem actually going to buy a burger or buying something and bring it to them. Mm-hmm. But that's not putting a roof under their head.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And even putting a roof over their head is not always the answer. I know there's this whole housing first model too, and that hasn't worked yet. Maybe it will. But what we're talking about is equipping people with the tools, the resources, and the confidence they need to actually help. So exactly, going back to that scenario, we walk by somebody who's sleeping rough and we don't know what to do. That conversation goes on in our head. Well, if I give them money, they're going to buy drugs. And well, I guess I can't do anything. And then we just keep walking, right? What if you did know what to do? What if instead it was, oh, this person's really hurting. This person's really struggling. Hey, how are you doing? And we sit down and we have a conversation. We get to know this person. We get to learn who they are, where they came from, what their story is, right? So instead of then walking by the next day and saying, oh, there's that crazy homeless person, better avoid them, better walk on the other side. Now that we've interacted with that person, we know their name, we know their story. The next time we see them, Bob, oh my God, what are you doing? You're still here on the streets. And we sit down, we get to know them. So what we're doing is we're humanizing it. So it's not just an artifact or worse, litter on the street that we got to walk around and avoid, because a lot of people treat our unhoused friends like that. But instead it becomes an obligation, a responsibility that we have to do something. And so it's, if you saw your family member on the street, you wouldn't just walk by, right? You would do something. You would want to help them. And so that's what we're trying to do is, when I talk about the paradigm shift, is normalize helping who we deem right now to be like strangers, but not seeing them as strangers. I used to always say a stranger is a friend you haven't met yet, right? So it's,
I like that.
Yeah. So it's befriending these people. And again, that ties back into the mission of what we're doing is change starts from within. Because as we let go of our fear, we're left with love. And we have that love, we can give that to our unhoused friends. But if we have all this fear, like, I don't know what to do. And what if they take advantage of me? What if they try to stab me? My husband even does that. He's like, you're going to visit these people that live under the bridge? Like, what if they stab you? I'm like, oh my God, are you serious? He's like, didn't you hear about that police officer? She was an outreach police officer and she got stabbed. And he showed me the article. I'm like, okay, babe, you got fear too. And he's like, I'm coming with you. So of course we have to take care of ourselves as well, right? So we can be fearless, but we also have to be intelligent and smart. And so that's why with the volunteers, it's the buddy system. You're always going with somebody, you're always checking in with the team before you go out, and you're checking in halfway, and then you're checking in again. So putting, precautions in place while we're doing the good work.
Mm-hmm. What is your take on, what is the Tri-Cities, the police, local police in the Tri-Cities? What do they do? Should they do more? What's happening in that department?
I haven't actually explored that enough yet. I have a friend that is a police officer. She actually helped me start Low Entropy. It was her and I, but she doesn't. Yeah, she doesn't like the limelight. Anyway, but she's a police officer, not in the Tri-Cities, in Burnaby. Um, so I've heard her opinion, but personally, I don't know yet. I have to go and see myself.
So there's maybe some possibilities of working together, maybe.
Possibly, yeah. You know, if they're open to that, I find, yeah, I find with a lot of organizations that are already in place and have their own structure, it takes a lot of time to collaborate and build that trust and that relationship with folks. A lot of people want to do things their own way, and when you come in and you're like, "Hey, what about this way?" They're like, "Oh, that's weird. That's scary. I don't know it."
And that's why I wanted to ask you this, because I know there's a lot of rules and regulations around like how things are done or been done, and then when we bring something different, uh, things we have to remove some red tapes and create new ways of doing things. And with big organization like that, sometimes it can be difficult, longer, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. I guess that's something
We'll see.
exploring.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, thanks for planting the seed because that is somebody I have to follow up with. I'm starting a business improvement association in Burquitlam,
Okay.
and we do have a community police liaison from the Tri-Cities, yeah, from Coquitlam Police Force. So
Yeah.
I need to follow up with her, and she's been offered actually. So that's all. That's the only interaction I've had with the police, but she has actively reached out to me to see if we want to any more information or if she can help.
Oh.
So it's been positive so far. Yeah.
Yeah. And the reason why I'm asking this is because we always heard, like you said earlier, someone got punched in the face or something happened, and it does plant that fear that what if I go say hi? What if, you know, what if?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if we take this away, there's a space for love
Mm-hmm.
and create relationship.
Exactly.
Vanessa, you're also an author. You actually just published your book. I want to take it. It's right here. My Big Ego. You just published it. When was that? A couple weeks ago?
Yeah, a week and a half on the
Week and a
11th,
half ago?
November 11th.
And I saw that you posted on social media that it was the number one seller.
Amazon number one.
Amazon number one in the First Nations section.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
you're Métis.
I am Métis, yes.
So, I mean, as a French person, you know, we do a lot of things with the Métis. They're also from French descent, so it's awesome to see this. I want to read a little part of your book. Is that okay if I do that?
Yeah, please.
I'm gonna need my glasses though. Okay, I was really a bit touched by this, and I want to read it to you and for everybody that's listening to us. Okay, materialism is an outdated concept that has led us to the current state of the world we live in, a world that is ruled by fear. Of course, we touched about this a little bit. Fear breeds ego, greed, selfishness, and destruction. Tell us a little bit about how you see materialism in today.
Well, it's ubiquitous. It's everywhere, and it's a belief system that most of us don't even know we have because it's within our culture. So materialism is the idea that nothing exists except for matter. Matter is all that there is, and so matter, material things, is what we then focus on. And we create a society where we try to get as much stuff as we can, right? We collect things, houses, cars, all the nice things. We revere things. We try to get as many things as possible.
Oh, yeah.
All the toys, right? And I wanted to talk, like I wanted a big flashy ring too. So I'm part of this society. And that's the society we live in, and that's based on materialism. And once we have all these things, we try to protect all these things, right? We try to get as much as we can, and then we try to keep people away from taking our things. So then it creates competition, survival of the fittest, and it doesn't get us very far in life. And so what I believe is that we need a new model, something different than materialism. And in the book, I talk about what that new model could be.
So what's the reason why and this is a little part we talk about, but what's the reason why you decided to write this book?
Yeah, it's based on a model that changed my life. And so it's that model that if not materialism, then what? And so the then what part is what I learned that dramatically changed my life and helped me to see a much bigger picture, helped me to understand my purpose. I always had an intuitive feeling of why I'm here and what I'm meant to do, but I could never make logical sense of it. It just kept me questioning, like, oh, so I'm here to be kind and like love people. Like, why? Because the Bible tells me so? Huh, well, that's not a good enough reason. Like, that doesn't make logical sense. And so I just kept questioning my whole life. Why am I here? Why am I here? Why am I really here? And then finally came across a model that made logical sense. And because it helped me so much, I felt, yeah, I felt I had a duty to help others and pay it forward. So that's what this book is.
How long did you work on this book?
So I discovered the model in 2015.
I should put it like that.
Yeah.
People to see it.
There we go.
2015, and then you.
And then I started writing it. So the first two, yeah, probably 2017 I started writing. Yeah. And then I finished it in 2002. So yeah, about 5 years worked on it.
I'm always curious because it's like, oh, I wrote a book. Well, it doesn't just happen just like that, right?
Yeah.
And then
Not for most.
and are you going to be writing more books?
Oh, maybe. We'll see. I don't know what I would talk about next. Oh, I know. How I ended homelessness. How I helped to end homelessness.
Oh, okay. I like that. That's very good. Well, Vanessa, thank you so much for joining us today. I love what you do. I'm sure everybody that's listening to this interview will get to discover a part of you and part of what you do. And I'm inviting everybody, please go get the book. It's fantastic. I read only a little part of it, but there's a lot more to the book. And it's a good learning piece, I would say. Yeah, definitely. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
So from La Société Francophone de Mayerville, Tri-Cities Community Television, and myself, Genevieve, thank you for joining us.